Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
I made this comparison on Section 10 last night. I'm going to make it again here. I am no Ted Williams. Ted Williams, I am not. And I'll explain that in the only way that I know how. Ted Williams in 1946, he, on the last day of the season, he was at 399.99, like it rounded up to 400. And his manager said, I can sit you for this doubleheader on the last day of the season. You can call it 400, be a legend forever. Or I can put you in the lineup and you can earn it the hard way. And he said, Skip, I'm going to earn it the hard way. He went out there and went 6 for 8 the day of that doubleheader. And that's how he ended up at 406 in 1946. And on Sunday, the final day of the MLB season, I was riding a 2 pick'em win streak, and I was like, I could end the season on a 3 pick'em win streak, ride off into glory, and be like, man, we really did it. We really did it this year. We basically hit our pick'ems at like 70%, and it would be huge to win a pick'em on the last day of the season. I said, you know what, Skip? Put me on the bench. I won yesterday. I won the day before. Let's just end on a high note. Why risk it? Why risk it, right? So no pick 'em on Sunday. Went out with a bang for the people. Thank you.
Takes a big man. Takes a big man to do that.
Can I?
I mean,
bro, I can't wait for you to fire these up though for the wild card round.
I was going to say this might complicate the legacy. You are going to resume picking for the postseason, though, right?
Yeah. I just wanted to end the regular season on a win. The only way to do that was to take myself out of the lineup on 162. So
yeah, all right.
Also, 162, like you've got the Jose De Leons of the world that are starting. Like people aren't putting out their A line. Like it was just not. It was too risky out there. I didn't want to put my people at risk. I did this for you guys. I protected you from yourself.
Was it Cal Raleigh starting? Nick Kurtz started? Aaron Judge started? What do you mean?
Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as just waiting for me to put out my picks. Starting game 1 Tuesday, wild card round. Be putting out a big fat pick'em for you. Where you're going to see a lot of total base plays. Dallas, you going to put out a pick 'em for game 1, or are you too much of a
buddy?
pussy?
This is just when things start to get cooking, pal. This is just when things start to get interesting.
This is when you start winning.
I'm not stopping. Not stopping at one game. Like you're probably like a same game parlay or like same game ticket guy for 2. No, Jared, I'm going the whole fucking slate, pal. Right. I'm not stopping at 1.
Okay, so write that down. Dallas was waiting for month 7 to start winning. Month number 7 of the season.
We won early. And after we won early, we just started to make it interesting. We're like, you know what? I'm trying to really maximize here.
No doubt. Make sure you sign up with the promo code Jared. That's Jared to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a special pick on Underdog. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code Jared. Man, a very eventful 162. I was wrong. Hand up. I was wrong about the Mets. I don't know where we want to start because there's so many big stories that have happened just in the last 24 to 48 hours. But yes, I was wrong about the Mets getting in, and I do feel very badly about it. I feel like
hit the breaking news button. Breaking news.
The Pittsburgh Pirates
Raise it!
have announced that they are extending their manager, Don Kelly. You, sir, have a seat at the table. We are creating a future here in Pittsburgh.
It is the dawn of the dawn era, baby.
Wow.
Dawn of the dawn. The dawn of the dawn. DK.
That is so funny that they announced the extension of Don Kelly on the day that the article comes out, where they're called a loser organization that never had a chance. Totally coincidental, by the way. Yeah.
Hey.
Let's change the noise. Let's change. Nice little Pittsburgh Post-Gazette article comes out about how quotes from their own players about how this is what 90 million gets you.
Can I get 9 seconds?
No, I didn't want to give you anything. I cut you off as quickly as I was going to go.
I just wanted 9 seconds to enjoy the moment, Jared, just to enjoy the idea that there was just maybe a beacon of hope, just a shred of light that could lead us into the future for 9 fucking seconds. I just wanted to celebrate Don Kelly having locked himself in.
That's it. That's it.
Lower it.
Okay. House of Blues, Tuesday night. Dallas will be there. Jayhay will be there. Eric Hosmer will be there. The Section 10 guys will be there. Everyone will be there. It's going to be a big, I think, so I've never been to a concert at the House of Blues. They have like the fancy seats, which I believe are pretty much almost all sold out. And then there's a bunch of tickets left for the floor. Like they can pack the floor. So I think it's more just like maybe our crowd is just bougie, where they immediately went for the fancy seats. And then there's a ton of tickets left for the floor. Like I'm not going to lie to you. Like there's a bunch of tickets left for the floor. So it's mostly like, yeah, I want to watch the game, but I want to sit down versus like, yeah, I want to be in like a mosh pit environment. But get your ass down there. We need to sell those fucking floor tickets. Let's go.
Pop shooter.
Yeah, like all the social media. Check out all of our social media to buy tickets for the House of Blues live show for game 1 of the wild card. Everyone's going to be there. It's going to be a fucking awesome night. Very excited for it. I'm anticipating a bump in ticket sales the day of, people being like, all right, fine, fuck it, I'll go. Because I think it was like,
go to the game.
First, it was like the Red Sox needed to clinch. Then it was who are they playing? Then it was what time is it? Who's going to be there? Like, can I take work off? Can I find a babysitter? It is 21 plus, which sucks because I know there were some folks that really wanted to go. And you know, I was at Fenway yesterday. There was a lot of people that were like, I'd love to go, but I can't because either, you know, my kid can't get in or I can't get in, whatever. But yeah, plenty of floor seats still available. Very excited for tomorrow night. It's the largest venue that we've ever done for a live event. So yeah, looking for it to get super rowdy on Tuesday night for the wild card. All right, let's start with the Mets. And you can't talk about the Mets without talking about the Reds. I think it's only fair to sing the praises of the Cincinnati Reds, who are going back to the postseason. Is this for the first time since 2020, Jayhay?
That's correct, and first time in a non-shortened season since 2013.
Damn.
Hot minute.
Damn, dude. Suitor B, by the way, man, what a vibes guy to have on the club.
Oh, yes.
Everyone knows him for his impressions of, like, he can do Harry Carey. He can do, who is the other one that he's, like, famous for? Jim Carrey, he does. But he's got a mean Tito that was very funny.
I mean, impression. I'm just so excited for this city. I can't tell you how good we're going to get.
He's great.
He's the best. He's the best.
He's I love that. I love that he said, he's like, dude, I got to be careful though, because I almost have to. I find myself having to explain some of the impressions and some of the lines and shit that I'm dropping on these kids because they have no idea. They've never seen The Mask. They don't know liar. Like they don't know this stuff.
No.
He's like, so, you know, he's like, I drop it. I think I'm super funny. And then it's like a.
Yeah.
Nobody. No. Cool.
Yeah, it sucks. Very excited that the Mets are that the Reds are gonna be there. Sorry, Mets fans. I tried to take up for you guys. I really did. I really did try to take up for the Mets. Kind of crazy that on the final day of the season, I mean, I guess that's kind of a microcosm of their season. Like when you go into it and you're looking at it like Clay Holmes, please save our rotation. A dude that's a relief pitcher, and then you sign him to be a starter, and then they put a lot of stock in that, and then the Manaea injury and Senga, and it was I don't want to say it was doomed from the jump, but it really was kind of like the start to their season. They were one of the best teams in baseball, and then the second half it was just like a slow death by 1,000 cuts until they finally died on the final day of the season. And the microcosm being, you know, Edwin Diaz is your closer, and he was the pitcher that recorded the most outs for you in the most important game of the year. Like you didn't have anyone else that you could trust with the baseball but your closer. That's just not going to get it done. And for a team that spent as much money as the Mets, for all the expectations that they had coming into the season, I'm sure Mets fans, we've had Clem on. I'm not going to call Clem today, because I feel like I wanted to call him on a happy. The next time I call Clem, I want it to be a happy thing. But when we talked to him last, he was kind of describing the situation as we kind of just want to put this to rest. It's like a sick, friend or family member in hospice, and you just want them to go peacefully. Like the Mets fans in the second half of the season, you're just watching this team being like, at what point am I supposed to be optimistic or excited about what's to come in October if we even get there? Like, where is the motivation for me as a fan to become invested in this product? And I get it. I just stupidly thought that they would hold on. And then to make matters worse and kind of kick the Mets fans while they're down, I mean, Pete Alonso could not have wasted any less time announcing, I am opting the fuck out of here. Not saying like I'm leaving, but kind of planting the seed of, I want what I'm worth. I hope the Mets feel the same way, and we view like my value the same way, or at least somewhere close.
Pete Alonso, like Garrett Cole, had the time and took the time to maybe shower and find himself a hat to put on and tell the free world, I'm out of here. Pete Alonso was like, hey, who's got I'm gone. I've appreciated my time here.
Here's Pete Alonso.
Thank you.
Here's Pete Alonso in his own words.
What are your thoughts about your future with this franchise?
I mean, for me, like I mean, playing for this organization, the city, I mean, it's really, I mean, for me, they've continued to believe in me. And I mean, I've loved playing here. There's some great guys in this clubhouse. There's some great people on the staff. And, I mean, every single day, it's just been a pleasure coming to work and putting on the orange and blue. So for me, it's, yeah, I mean, I've really appreciated and been nothing but full of gratitude every single day. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, nothing's guaranteed, but I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I've loved being a Met, so hopefully they've appreciated me the same.
Do you expect to opt out of your contract, Dave?
Yes.
It's very, I guess, rare to hear a player be so blunt. Like usually they'll be like, we'll see, we'll wait and see. I'm going to talk to my agent, my family, and we're going to see where we ultimately land. Even if the whole public knows, like clearly this player is going to opt out. But Alonso was like, yes, I am opting out. Yes.
I mean, like, not that it matters, I guess, when talking about Pete Alonso, but isn't that just like par for the personality? And I'm not saying that in a bad way at all.
He's a real dude.
Absolutely. That's exactly it. Let's just remember, people can laugh and joke and smile about it. I was legitimately like, is that Jared, is that Pete Alonso wearing the fucking home run derby chain in the bar right now? With us and 6 other people. Yes, it was. And that's just, he don't care. He doesn't care. This is how he's going to roll. He's going to be an open book. I mean, to an extent, we're not going to know how the negotiations are going, but we're going to know how they're starting. And it's game on. I'm out. Let's go ahead and just start to gear up for the future. I think for Pete Alonso, like if he found himself in a spot last time around where he was the one offering special deals to the team that he wanted to play for, because maybe it felt like that was going to be his best path to securing a situation for himself that he felt like he deserved. Well, now maybe it's hey, look, I've done what I've done. Let's just get this out there right now. Any teams who are interested in what I might be able to bring to the table, know now that I'm out there and feel free to hit me up. And we just watched him, I think, put together a season that would maybe help that cause, as opposed to him feeling like he needs to be the one offering teams deals. He's now maybe in a position to start, fielding those offers, typically how it happens.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to spend a ton of time on Pete Alonso's free agency. We have all offseason to talk about that, and I'm sure it'll get dragged out and it'll be dramatic, and then he'll come back to the Mets. And yeah, I feel like after finishing a season like that, Of course, there's going to be disappointment. I do expect Steve Cohen to respond in kind and with haste, but I don't think it's a situation where you're looking at culture turnover. It's not like, oh man, like Pete Alonso was part of the problem. Like he was the best player on the Mets this year. Like I know Juan Soto had a fantastic season, but I think if you were to ask Mets fans, who's the key ingredient if there's going to be success moving forward in the immediate future, I think that Pete Alonso would be one of the top answers to that question. So
can I ask you a quick question before we move on? Just
sure,
real quick.
Mm-hmm.
We know why the Mets failed largely, right? Pitching.
Yep.
Is there any thought that they're going to reinvest the Alonso money in pitching, and that maybe it's not a foregone conclusion that he comes back, or is it necessary to bring him back and is it an and?
Yeah, I think it's the and. I'm not saying it's a slam dunk 100% that Alonso comes back, but I do think that Steve Cohen recognizes his importance to the DNA of the team, and they're not in a rebuilding phase. They're in a, I don't know, like it's I don't even know how you would categorize it. Like we're championship ready. We're just missing a couple pieces, but like not anyone, like you saw at the trade deadline, it's not easy to acquire the pitching that you need to put yourself over the top. Like the Mets need legit pieces.
Well, they do. I mean, let's remember, right? They lost. They did not have Mania for a while, and then the Mania that they got back, I mean, it was a struggle. I mean, it is what it is. But Clay Holmes, I think for doing what he did, coming into the situation that he came into, with the role that he came into, I think he lived up to what you would expect, or what you could expect from a guy coming in to do that, to now make the transition from bullpen to starter. He did that. You lose McGill. That's tough. You didn't get performances from guys like Stanek down there in the bullpen. Reed Garrett wasn't what he was last year. Like there's areas that you can point to, like Singa, the idea that Singa was still comparable when healthy, but then not able to figure it out. And it just felt like tough luck, man. It felt like tough luck.
Yeah. I mean, they missed it by one game. I mean, we're going to talk about all the different teams of like what could have, what should have. And like the Yankees in particular, the Toronto Blue Jays have clinched the American League East Division title, and they finished the season with the same record as the New York Yankees. And it comes down to the head-to-head tiebreaker in which the Toronto Blue Jays have the advantage. And I think when you look at the New York Yankees final out being recorded on game 162, and it's like, all right, we're about to, like, we won our 8th straight ball game. We're going to the playoffs. None of them smiled. Like, you saw Judge jogging in. You saw Stanton come out of the dugout. You saw Ben Rice at first base. All the camera shots that hit all the different players after the final out was recorded, they were all just very subdued, almost pissed off, because they knew when we needed to turn it up and play our best baseball to win the division, we did. It was just a matter of, things didn't go our way during certain spots over the course of the season. And I look back to, I mean, how many opportunities was a guy like DJ LeMahieu given when maybe those at-bats could have been given to someone else that could have helped the team? When they first put their super pen together and guys were shitting the bed left and right, if they had kind of gotten their shit together from the jump, would that would have been the difference in winning the American League East. The injury for Judge and not being able to that did hinder his performance for about a month, right? Like he wasn't Aaron Judge. Like he turned it on at the end. Like the last month of the season, he was Aaron Judge again, but that injury that kind of fucked up his performance. And if he had been it's all little things that kind of built up for the Yankees, where one victory and they're the American League East champions and they have the bye and they don't have to play the Red Sox. They're going to eliminate them from the postseason. Like that sucks. They wouldn't have to do that if just one game had gone differently. So it is something where, I think if you're one of those baseball fans that tries to hush the fans in May that are freaking out when, if you lose 6 straight games in May and everyone thinks the sky is falling, like there's so much season left. You're both right. There is a bunch of season left. But if you had gotten your shit together in that 6-game skid in May, that could make the difference of whether or not you have a first round bye come October. Like all the games, and they are created equal. But yeah, I think if I were to ask you guys, the New York Yankees, what thing could they have corrected or done differently to ensure that they would have had the first round bye in the AL East title?
Well, I don't think it's fair to have that conversation that you just had and then ask for one thing, because I think what you just did is paint.
Well, the Judge thing you can't control, right?
Well, right, but where you started with that rant is baseball, because I just lived through a team losing 20 out of 21 games. I just lived through that. And I could easily point to winning half of those games and telling you right now that the Seattle Mariners very well may not even be in the fucking postseason. And that's the team that won the division. And they could have not been in that situation because the A's did what they did. I mean, that's just baseball. So I think you can try to look to any one point, and those are all viable options. I think it just becomes very nitpicky when you say, if this would have happened, because I mean, you can take what didn't happen in May and plug it into September. And I mean, it's baseball.
So some of those things that you're talking about though, like the Aaron Judge injury, is there anything the Yankees could have done to prevent that? No. When you acquire a bunch of stud relievers and you put them out there and you put them in spots that you trust them and they fuck it up, is there anything you could have done differently to prevent that? Probably not. But I guess giving a long leash to a guy like DJ LeMahieu, who you were comfortable designated for assignment and eating the money. Yeah, I think you could look back at that and say, man, that leash was a little bit too long. And if we had given someone else the opportunity, maybe things are different.
Think about the very first game after acquiring all of their assets in the second half. Think about how that unfolded, right? Everybody on the mound that night gave it up. There were errors in the outfield. Like it just, everybody that they brought in to either address or shore up what they were trying to do was unfortunately a part of a disastrous loss that day. So it's like, all right, if we're talking about just one game, what could they have done? You could think about that game. But that's what happened, is they went and got people to help their situation, and baseball happened. The folks that they brought in to help didn't help right away. And in fact, they kind of created a bit of an issue that day. Just is what it is.
Jayhay?
I mean, I think the whole conversation is fascinating. Like there are so many different threads you can take down the what if, whether it's the Yankees or any other team. Like I'll go back to the Yankees in a second, but the first situation that I thought of when you were talking about this is the Reds and the Mets. They finished with the same fucking record, right? Like it's the same. They were both 83 and 79, and one of those teams are spraying champagne all over each other and are treated as heroes. Like Terry Francona's first season in Cincinnati is now a wild success after like 2 weeks ago, they were still under 500. And like 3 weeks ago, they were 6 games behind the Mets. And now the Mets are like at an existential crisis point, all because they lost the tiebreaker. Because to Jared's initial point, all of these games, all of these things that happened over a 6-month season matter just as much as the stuff at the end of the season. I think as it relates to the Yankees, I feel more like they got a lot out of the people that they had in general. Like, I feel like this season, like DJ LeMahieu, for sure, they definitely had a leash that was too long on him. I feel like there are examples of that sort of oversight on every single team, every single season. Like, I think, like, they got a lot out of Giancarlo Stanton, like probably more than anyone could have reasonably expected. I think the offseason moves, by and large, were like, I'd still rather have Juan Soto than the people that they replaced Juan Soto with, or the backup plan. But I think the backup plan worked pretty well, at least the Max Fried, Cody Bellinger portion of the backup plan. And, great season from Trent Grisham. The system provided some huge contributions from Warren and Schittler. So I don't know. Yes, but no, I guess.
Is his name really Schittler?
Schlittler. I forgot the L. Yeah, I was moving too quickly. Sorry. Schlittler. It's not a great name, if we're being honest. It's not a great name. I mean, that would suck. I know there are some names that have been identified as being tough to get out on a broadcast or ones that you have to be careful with. But like, I don't think I'm ever getting that out cleanly the whole time he's in the big leagues. Like,
Schlittler.
Schlittler. Cam Schlittler. Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
Him too.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Schlittler.
The Detroit Tigers dropped 2 out of 3 this weekend in Boston. Still clinched a postseason spot. I don't know, man. Like I get it. Like there's never been a team that has declined a champagne celebration upon clinching a playoff berth. I get it. You're gonna do it. You have to do it. You deserve to do it. If it were me in that Detroit clubhouse, I would be like, what the fuck are we doing, guys? Like, I would be like, we just fucking blew a 15.5 game lead. We just lost the division. Why the fuck are we celebrating? And like, I on the other side, Dallas, before you even say anything, it's a 162 game season. It's a fucking grind just to get in. I get all that. I understand all that. But if I'm in that clubhouse, I'm thinking we should have won the division. Like I am far more angry and frustrated and annoyed that we did not win the division than I am happy that we just got in. That's how I feel.
That's fine, but you got to immediately shit can that, because if you're going to let the thought of how your season didn't end, even though you're in the postseason, if you're going to let that affect your next series, why go out and play it? Because
I think I would.
Are you telling me that you're taking that
day
negative?
Like today? I would flush
that's
it
fine,
on that
but that's
day.
where it's got to start. It has to start. And what better way to start? What better way to quite literally rinse it away? Because what you spin zone very quickly, and this is what I would be doing. I'd be grabbing you, Jared, right now. We'd be looking at each other, and I'd be going, hey, you can't blow a fucking 15-game lead if you don't have one, huh? Congrats to us, baby. Here we go. We're still going dancing. We're still going to be there. We're still going to be there. It took 162 of these motherfuckers to figure it out. All right? And at the end of it all, we're one of the 12 that are going. We're one of the 12 that are going. Do you want to let that entire slide be what propels us into the postseason? You don't want that to be what launches us into this dance, right? Let's rinse that off and let's go attack a day off and let's fucking get after it.
But here's what I would do. I would be like, if we had blown a 15.5 game lead, if we had built it up by, the first week of June and then blown it by mid-August, but then battled and still got in the postseason, I'd probably feel a lot differently than if the completion of blowing that lead happened on the final day of the season. Then I'm having myself a Brett Anderson night at the bar on that off day before the playoffs start, just sitting there alone by myself drinking, being like, this is the fucking
Jared,
worst.
To your point, they don't get swept by the A's. We're not having this conversation.
Yeah. If they don't lose a series to the Sox, we're not having this conversation. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. But anyways, congrats to the Tigers. I don't know. A very, very exciting time. Jayhay, the floor is yours to speak on your Cleveland Guardians, who have pulled off the damn near impossible. I want to say at the beginning of the month, they had, what was it, a 0.4% chance of winning the division? 0.4%?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's the greatest comeback in baseball history, if you want to look at it a certain way. I mean, obviously, Red Sox coming down in a postseason series, I'd rather have that. But in terms of what Cleveland was faced with at the time, no one has ever come back from a greater deficit. And that's whether you look at the deficit they came back in July, the 15 games that surpassed the 1914 Braves, or the largest September deficit, which they now also own. And it wasn't even close. The previous was 8.5 games. erased by the 64 Cardinals. So this is literally unprecedented what Cleveland has done. And I found it so poetic that in a game that, they were down again to the Texas Rangers, that they managed to walk that off in remarkable fashion, just kind of because why not sort of reason. And it was, subjectively, I got to watch that game with my dad on Sunday, which was also a lot of fun. And I don't think my expectations are all that elevated for Cleveland at this point. I do think it's fun. I'm relishing the chance to go in and face Detroit again and see Skubal again, because to me, Cleveland is still playing with house money. Like I don't know how to treat the Tigers emotionally or how their fan base is going to treat this series. But for me, as a Cleveland fan, I'm treating it as everything is found money. I'll be disappointed if they lose, but if they can go through Skubal again and beat the Tigers, that to me is just, why not put that sort of obstacle in front of this team again and see if they can't add to, their pelt, see if they can't add to like all of the amazing, unlikely things that they've been doing this season, because that's just going to make it all the more interesting. So yeah, I think it's going to be a fun series. Obviously could go either way, but the end of the season was unlike anything that I've ever seen. And just like one last thing that I think is like cool, like nobody cares about Rocchio specifically, but I do think it is emblematic of something within this organization and team that a guy who was a Gold Glove caliber shortstop in 2024 was then started off this season and sucked and was demoted and then returned as a second baseman midstream and then comes through in the way that he did in the moment that he did. I just think like it's cliche, but that's quintessential baseball in a lot of ways. And I thought it was very cool that he had that moment.
When I asked Vogt last year about, because I talked to him, I was like, Voter, you know what it is to be a heartbeat guy. And I'm always interested in who those guys are for a team, because the stars identify themselves and we know who those guys are. And sure, their stories are interesting. What's really interesting though, is when you find out that those stars fall in line behind certain other guys. And it might be from a leadership perspective. It might be just by virtue of accountability because of the work ethic of an individual. But Rocchio was described as a heartbeat guy because of his willingness to do whatever is put in front of him and his desire to be really, really good at it. So it's a dude who around every turn, and it's a great mindset to have in this game because you're challenged daily. And if you're being challenged to help your team figure out a different way to utilize your skill set and win, and you haven't been getting it done, and that's going to now buy you the opportunity to do that. How do you bounce back? How do you process that? And to your point, Jayhay, being able to go through that growth period, come back up, and continue to be impactful now. It's not like a reinvention of sorts, but maybe it's just now you're adding depth, you're adding layers to who you are as a player, and the team has benefited greatly from it. But to the point of who the AL Manager of the Year identified last year as a guy who is going to be a key cog continues to play itself out. And I think old Voter could be getting some hardware.
Well, and as it relates to Cleveland and Detroit specifically, like I don't have any misgivings about what the rivalry could end up being on a national scale. I know people probably won't care, but I do think it will. There was no postseason history between these two teams prior to last season. Like there was no juice in that sense, right? And there's really been no divisional friction between these two teams historically either, because when Detroit, the rare instances when Detroit was good, Cleveland was at arguably its worst periods. And when Cleveland has been the dominant force in the division, Detroit has just generally not been able to touch them. And this is one of the first instances where you have the two organizations kind of colliding at the same time. And if we get last season last season's postseason, this season's regular season, and this postseason, I think you have, you're building towards something that could be very cool for those local fan bases.
Well, not only cool for the players, and I think for baseball fans, for baseball fans in general, because every year we go into both of those division conversations with high hopes for maybe a team, and then we still at the end of it go, but it's the Central, so we'll see how it ends up. And that happened again this year, but it's because of a monumental collapse, an incredible run at the end, and what we have are two teams who have quite literally been the hurdle in front of each other's pathway to success. And they will ultimately be the reason that the other team does not move on, cannot attain their success. That is a beautiful place to be if you're just a baseball fan, a Central fan, and even more specifically a fan of either one of these two teams, because it gives you something to chew on for the future, because it's automatically a fuck you in 2026. Is it not? Sure. Automatically.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyways, I think it's great. The baseball gods have written a fantastic script this year because they're giving us Red Sox, Yankees. I feel like that's kind of just like that's like the cliche. Like, sure, let's get this party started. You guys want Red Sox, Yankees? Yeah. All right, cool.
Well, hey, you know what? I was just gonna say, Jared, it went from being a main stage to like
a party starter.
It's a great appetizer. Appetizer.
Yeah, like because there's no hatred between these two teams right now. The hatred is between the two fan bases, but it's kind of just like, all right, we can best out of 3 high pressure situations, Yankee Stadium. Let's give you a little Red Sox Yankees as the opener for the main event.
But I do think it has a nice throwback feel to it as well. I know it doesn't have the juice that Red Sox Yankees used to, maybe, but that the guys that'll be on the mound were the big ticket items that their teams went out and got as answers to each other, to other things, and that both of those guys delivered like, solid A+ seasons in year one. That to me, like I'm really looking forward to this one. Like Crochet Fried has a lot of juice as a pitching matchup for me, and I'm really looking forward to this. If this is our opener, hell yeah.
It's gonna be fun. I'm very excited for it. Buy a ticket to Hustle Blues. I think the fact that the baseball script writers, they said, we're going to have the Guardians and Detroit Tigers battle this thing out. It's going to come down to the very last day. We're going to have the greatest comeback in terms of games made up in the history of a divisional collapse ever. And then you know what? We're going to wait 48 hours, and then we're going to have them play against each other in the playoffs. How's that sound? Oh, that sounds fucking awesome. That sounds unbelievable. So not only do we have the Guardians and the Tigers scoreboard watching for the last month to see if Cleveland could pull off the damn near impossible 0.4% were the odds at the beginning of the month for the Guardians to be able to come back and win this division. They did that. And then their first round opponent in the wild card series is the team that they toppled in the month of September. Detroit Tigers, Cleveland Guardians. That's going to be a fantastic matchup. I can't wait to see it. The fact that we just kind of saw them go head to head in Cleveland, and the Guardians were able to defeat Tarek Skubal, even though it wasn't like they didn't take them to task. It was a bunch of just pesky Cleveland Guardian infield singles that did them in, and they were able to get the job done. I'm very excited. That's probably might be we're getting Red Sox Yankees, and I'm probably more excited for Guards Tigers than anything else. When the Red Sox clinched on Friday night, I didn't expect to end up on the field after, so I was kind of just moseying around. Like we were hanging around, but then I went over to like the Tigers dugout and was talking to some of those guys, and they were like, can you find out where they're partying tonight so I can like pick up the tab and just get them shit-faced? They're hungover. Like, we just want to get in, man. Like at this point, like we want the most hungover lineup that we can face tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, to kind of like echo Dallas's sentiments in the past about, like the types of guys that play for the Tigers. There's a lot of good dudes in there, and I know it sucks that their season didn't pan out the way that they probably thought it was going to in the end, but they are in as the 6th seed. They draw the division winning Cleveland Guardians, who have the worst record out of all the division winners in the American League, which means that they do not get the bye. That will go to the Seattle Mariners as the 2 seed. The Toronto Blue Jays, who held on game 162, thanks to Alejandro Kirk, who fucking went off yesterday. Grand slam, 2-run homer. He was like, we are winning this fucking division if I have to do it my damn self. So shout out to Alejandro Kirk for getting the job done. So there will be an American League East bracket, so to speak. The Red Sox as the 5 go up against the Yankees as the 4 in Yankee Stadium. The winner will go on to face the number 1 seed Toronto Blue Jays. And then obviously the Guards and the Tigers. The winner of that goes on to play the number 2 Seattle Mariners. On the other side, though, we haven't talked about the Padres because they clinched a little while ago. That was not a 162 thing, and the Cubs as well. How do we feel about the Padres and Cubs series as like a matchup? Does that excite you? Is there a team that you think you heavily favor in terms of like our strength is greater than your greatest weakness? Like, how do you guys look at the Padres Cubs series?
Well, we've talked about what the bullpen represents for the San Diego Padres, and that I think can be or will be the deciding factor in this. And that's simply because I'm just not quite sure what they're going to roll out or what it's going to look like from a starting pitching perspective, how deep they're going to let those guys go and when they decide to start to roll in the support staff. So I think it's oddly enough, maybe sooner that the Padres bullpen gets into the mix, the better. I don't know. But it feels like the Cubs, man. I'm really curious to see what PCA looks like in this series. Like if you can get PCA for a 3-game burst that turns things like, I think he can dominate a series.
Jayhay?
Yeah, I'm so conflicted on the Cubs specifically because their offense was so bad for so much of the second half, and it really started to look better down the stretch, and some key components of it specifically started to look better down the stretch. Suzuki and Bush being the 2 guys, namely, but on the other side, like the starting pitching, which for so much of the season looked like it was actually improving as the season went on. Like their 2 options to start game 1, and I would assume games 1 and 2 are Imanaga and Boyd. And yeah, I have like very little confidence in those guys right now. Like, it's not that they can't put together good starts. They obviously can, but Imanaga has been incredibly homer prone lately. And Boyd is, as we've noted on this pod a couple of times, has just not been very good over the last 2 months after their great first 20 or so starts this season. So, like my heart obviously wants the Cubs. I don't think any Padres fans in my life, plenty of Cubs fans in my life. But I just, this Cubs offense seems so streaky that, yeah, PCA, interested to see what we're getting from him. I feel that way about almost everybody on the team offensively.
My confidence is low.
Yeah. And, is Nick Pivetta a sexy opening series starter? No, but he's been really effective. And, if he dialed up 6 innings of 1-run ball against the Cubs and made them look kind of ineffective overall, I wouldn't be even a little bit surprised.
It sucks because I was so high on PCA in the first half, and I have tweets from like June being like, I can see PCA as a guy that's going to set the October stage on fire. I don't believe that at the moment. Like, I don't know how you can look at his second half and even his September. Like, if we just narrow it down to September, like Jayhay mentioned Bush, Happ, Horner, like even like Seiya Suzuki's been okay.
Yeah, his turnaround's been very recent.
Yeah, like it's like this is just September that we're talking about. But on the Padres side of things, Machado, not a good September. Jake Cronenworth, not a good September. Luis Arias, he kind of turned it on in September, which was nice. 352, 828 OPS in the month of September. Fernando Tatis Jr. very quietly had a very nice September, 293 with a 900 OPS, and Jackson Merrill being the guy that led the Padres offense. with 275, 946 OPS. But yeah, like kind of just like looking at some of the guys that are supposed to be guys for the Cubs. I mean, do we really expect? Are we comfortable with Ian Happ and Nico Horner being your offensive anchors in a postseason series? I'm not.
Well, I mean, offensive anchors, but if they're consistent offensive contributors, yes. I mean, but anchors, I mean,
who's driving them? If they're the guys that are getting on base, who's driving them in?
Well, that's where I was going to say you would like for Kyle Tucker to be the anchor, right?
You would like that, yeah,
right.
And that's who you'd like to be the anchor, sure. But if that's not going to happen, I think it's almost unfair to ask a Happ or Horner to be an anchor. But if those guys can just consistently produce the way they have, then do you like your chances? But I think you have to. I think you have to like your chances. I'm not, but if you're asking them to shoulder the load, well, then no, you're a step back. You're a step behind.
I'm glad you brought up Tucker though, because people talk about wild cards or X factors or whatever. I don't think any of us on this podcast can reasonably have any idea what we're going to get from Kyle Tucker in this postseason series. Like, I know he returned at the end of the season. He is DHing because they are acknowledging he's not fully healthy. So, like, what do you make of that? We can speculate about what he was delivering when he wasn't fully healthy before. But there's just, but all we keep listing here is like question marks from the Cubs offensively and on the pitching side. And if it all lines up, it's like what we've talked about when they've looked their best this year. It's a World Series contender. It's just, Cade Horton would have felt like maybe a little bit more of a secure option in game one, given how he'd been pitching if he was available, rather than the two lefties who have been not very good lately.
Something to think about too for on the Padres side of things is they will not have Ramon Laureano right now, who has come over and been a huge contributor.
I mean, not in September, but I mean, overall has been impactful. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this series, it's cliche. It's going to come down to pitching. I think it's going to come down to pitching, and then the stars have to be stars. Like what Kyle Tucker are we getting in this series? What Manny Machado are we getting in this series? The player that I am most confident in showing up and being the guy that I think we expect him to be is Fernando Tatis Jr. That's the one guy that I think on both sides I can be like, hey, you guys have stars. You guys have stars. There's injury concerns. There's poor performance concerns. But I think the one dude I can plug and play in this series and be like, I don't have to worry about that dude is Tatis.
Well, let's hope so for the Padres' sake. But I mean, I think guys like Ryan O'Hearn are poised to continue the run, to continue the contributions that he's made.
Like Ryan O'Hearn, he hasn't been bad, but they got him to be a slugger, and he's not slugging. He's hitting, which is nice. He's not helping, but he's not the guy that they thought they were getting at the trade deadline.
No, one homer his last 30 games, 30 days.
Right.
I also think it's cool when teams that play in the same league go like generations without seeing each other in the postseason. Like the only other time that the Padres and Cubs have ever faced each other was 1984. I've literally never been alive for a Cubs Padres postseason series, which is just, it both doesn't matter and is also kind of cool. Like Steve Garvey hit a walk-off homer the last time these guys played.
Shout out Steve Garvey.
Yeah, now we're going to get to see, see them go head to head, which I think is on some level kind of cool. And sorry, the last thing that I want to say about the contrast between these two teams is like, I do think the homer or its presence or not presence in the series is going to end up being what we end up talking about after the series is over, because particularly if the Cubs win, because at their best, these two teams are polar opposites as it relates to ability to put the ball over the fence. And, if it is much more difficult for the Padres to score runs than it is for the Cubs, who can just swing the bat and make contact. The Padres, I believe, are third to last in baseball in home runs hit this season. So Just something
They're
to
the
watch.
last in the playoff group. Jay,
yes,
we can tell
there
you
you
that the Padres are
Easily.
as far as the home run leaders go for this playoff bracket. It starts with the Yankees and it ends with the Padres. The Yankees have 274 homers as a team. The Padres have 152. Excuse me, 152. The Cubs have 223. So that's a different way that we can have this discussion about the first round, about the postseason in general, is how these offenses have gone about generating runs and how they're going to be either asked to do so or will have to get creative in doing so based on the pitching matchups that they're going to face. You know, like for the Cubs, okay, you're a team that has powered the ball all around the yard, and you are a team that has been able to rely on slugging the baseball. Fantastic. How are you going to fare against a bullpen or a group who does not surrender the homer, who keeps the ball in the yard, who does a good job of creating swing and miss? Like, how are you going to generate offense now? How are you going to get creative? So it's always a fun little conversation to have. But you're right, Jayhay. Two teams who go about it a little differently.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to rework one of my takes. I'm doing a little MLB Network spot at 2:10 today, and I'll give you a little preview on what I'm going to be asked. So they said, should the Philadelphia Phillies be the favorites for the World Series? And I was going to say, and I still am going to say, I think the Phillies have a great shot of going to the World Series, but I think despite the Dodgers being the 3 seed, I still think that until someone else takes it from them, I think that they should be looked at as the top dog. I think we mentioned how they could be conserving energy. Like, it's not for a lack of talent. I still think the Dodgers are the scariest team, but we go back to last year and how quickly we forget when they played that first series or started that first series against the Padres, having conversations on here about they look flat, they look disinterested, they look they look like they don't want to be there. They're like whatever. They didn't have that killer instinct. Then once their backs were up against the wall against San Diego, they flipped that switch and they never turned it off. Like, they kind of they did their thing for the rest of the postseason. But for those first few games against San Diego, it looked like the Dodgers were just like, yep, we're the best team. We're just going to stroll in here and beat whoever we want. And then they got punched in the mouth. They responded. That doesn't always happen when you get punched in the mouth. They responded. So then they were kind of like going to ask me if like a hot take for the postseason. And I was going to say, I think the chance of the greatest upset in the wild card round could be Cincinnati over the Dodgers. But digging a little deeper, the Reds, they don't have anyone that's hot offensively coming into this series. Like,
nope. But
no
you know
one,
what? That could be an oversight, or that could be a reason that people do underestimate them. And then all the Reds do is go out and execute clean fundamental baseball. And that could very well be what separates them, because it doesn't matter if you have somebody who's beating the world. Sometimes, Jared, that guy just becomes the easy guy to work around. And now the added responsibility, the added pressure that gets applied upward and downward around that individual in his spot in the lineup can become too much, can become almost insurmountable for guys. And you'd like to think, well, we got a world beater in the middle of our lineup. That should help. Maybe it doesn't. So if it's just about guys who have been consistent, that have played a team brand of baseball, getting you to this point, that one guy gets on, the next guy gets a walk, the next guy gets him over. And the guy who's stepped up and has been good all year ends up getting a hit, hits the homer, whatever. That's how you win ball games. And I think the Reds are in a position to be able to win ball games like that, even though they might not have a guy who's just white hot right now.
They don't. They don't. They do not have a guy that's marching into this series like a man on fire. They don't.
Can I take it a step further?
Yeah.
I just don't think they have a guy that's that good. Like, I don't think it's that they don't have people that are not that hot. I think, like, if you put Ellie in his own bucket as like this special thing, their team is not that good. Like, I just don't, particularly offensively. And they won 83 games. Could they win Of course, we know that any team could win a best of 3. I just don't think I just don't think the Reds are particularly good. And I think you're right that you look at their lineup and it's like, who am I relying on here? And to me, the answer is no one, because it's not a very good lineup.
No, there's no argument there. I mean, there's no debate to be had.
Yeah, and because of that, I think I'm going to put that take of the Reds upsetting the Dodgers right back in my pocket. I think that's going to stay right there.
Right here, nestled in the middle of Baseball is Dead for the true listeners.
But I mean, like, again, if all these dudes do is just go out and if they execute fundamentally, do you feel like the Dodgers are just so overwhelming that it won't matter?
Yes.
I kind of do.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help your take here.
What is your bold prediction for the 2025 postseason? Well, I'll tell you what it used to be. I used to have a bold prediction that the Reds could upset the Dodgers, and then I really looked into it and I said, you better not say that on national television. That's my bold take for 2025 postseason. I don't know. What's a fucking bold take at this point?
It's a tough question.
Yeah, I feel like Cubs Padres is evenly matched enough. Dodgers Reds is very lopsided. I think it would be foolish to say the Reds could beat the Dodgers.
That's why it's a bold take, though. That's why it's. I mean,
all right. You know what? All right. I'll give you my fucking bold take, and you tell me if it's bold enough. Because it's not. I think it won't be from you, because I've kind of already said it on this podcast. I think to their audience, they might be like, "Whoa," but Red Sox Yankees isn't even going to be close to being the most entertaining of the first round matchups.
I think that's a good one, in particular because it lets you wiggle off in any direction depending on how it goes, right? Like you're not really pinning yourself to an outcome so much.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I was going to say something like the Cubs score 0 runs in their series against the Padres. That's bold, obviously. You know, they just eat a bunch of Padres bullpen for lunch. And never actually get on the board. But that may be too bold. But that, to me, I'm more comfortable with than picking the Reds, honestly, even though I know the Reds is probably statistically more likely to happen than the Cubs scoring 0 runs. I just don't understand how, in good conscience, I can say that the Reds are going to win this series.
I can't wait for this Reds win.
I mean, Hunter Green certainly has the chance to go out there and shove and they could steal game 1, and then crazy things can happen in game 2. Like, it's not lost on me that crazy shit can happen in a best of 3. I still just look at what the Dodgers are trotting out there compared to what the Reds are trotting out there, and I'm like, I don't know that crazy shit has much of an opportunity to present itself.
You don't have the balls.
I don't. I even looked at the head-to-head.
You do not have the
Reds
balls.
were 1-5 against the Dodgers this year.
Buddy, that's regular season matchup numbers. That's regular season. This is October, Jared.
I don't believe.
I can't believe. I mean, you want Hunter Green, Andrew Abbott on the mound to get you popping? You have that? You're not happy about that? You're not confident in that?
No, I am confident in Mando, though. Yeah, because fall's here, crisp air, football, maybe a bonfire too. But if you're like most guys, you're still putting in hard work, and yeah, that means sweat. Don't let body odor sideline you. Mando deodorant plus sweat control is for real working guys, formulated to stop odor before it starts. It doesn't mask odor with overwhelming fragrance, so you can tackle anything from the job site to tailgating with confidence. Don't mask it, Mando it. Clinical strength sweat control, 1 swipe and you're good to go. This isn't your typical deodorant. It's clinical strength 2 times better at controlling sweat than the standard. It controls both sweat and odor for 72 hours, and after just 12 hours, underarm sweat was reduced by 92%. This stuff works, folks. It doesn't just mask odor, it prevents it. 100% of study participants experience all-day odor protection. Unlike other deodorants loaded with chemicals, Mando uses only premium ingredients like gentle mandelic acid to keep you fresh and dry. Mando's new deodorant plus sweat control solid stick gives you double the protection you need. No more worrying about sweat stains or those embarrassing pit rings. Shout out to Livy Dunn. Just all day freshness and dryness. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, and free shipping. As a special offer for BID listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. That is promo code BID at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide and free shipping. shopmando.com. Please support Baseball is Dead. Tell them what we sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control plus. Say goodbye to sweat stains and say hello to long-lasting freshness. All right. Would you guys like to do some predictions for these series?
Oh, let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Let's start on the National League side of the bracket. Let's say Dallas. Let's maybe start with, I don't know, the Reds and the Dodgers.
Reds and the Dodgers. You know what, Jared? I feel like there's some folks who I think very quickly want to jump on the star-studded train of the Los Angeles Dodgers. The lights, the glitter of Hollywood can be intoxicating, Jared. It can be intoxicating. But you know what? There's some people who are salt of the earth. There's some people who are able to look at a team who's able to weather the storm and climb up out of the valleys, enjoy their moments on the peaks, and put a winning season together, Jared. and those people might be Reds fans, and those people might be delusional to think that they have any fucking chance against the Los Angeles Dodgers, because I'm going Dodgers. It's going to take 2 games. It's not going to be quick. And they're going to be every part of the reason why I'm able to get home on Thursday instead of Friday. So yeah, Dodgers 2.
Dodgers in 2. Jayhay, do you agree?
You guys are both taking Dodgers in 2?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess I should have gone first then, because shout out to the Hoffer, shout out to Tito Francona, because it's going to be party time in Cincinnati.
Oh,
the
wow.
Reds are going to take the series.
Wow.
No, you don't believe that.
No, I don't believe that. No, the Dodgers in 2.
Okay.
The
All right.
Dodgers at 2.
Okay. Dodgers in 2. The Padres and Cubs. This could go either way. I'm very interested to hear what you guys think. Jayhay?
Yeah, this is the one I'm most conflicted on. It's the one where if we recorded it a different time on a different day, I might give you a different answer.
Sure.
I am going to go Cubs though. And I'm going to hang my hat on what I ended the conversation with from my end, which was the home runs. I think the Cubs home runs will show up in this series. I think they will get to the Padres bullpen and Padres starters, and that will be enough to carry the day. I'm taking Cubs in 2.
Ooh, wow.
Wow.
Dallas?
I'm going Padres in 3. Because, as I said, Jayhay and I are, I think, along the same path in terms of what the Padres need to get from their starters and what they might not get. But I do believe that the bullpen is in a position to do the job. I believe that they will be able to silence any sort of threat that the Cubs think that they can mount. And I got to believe that with the added pressure of the postseason, guys that have struggled in that Cubs lineup are going to feel the pressure to do so even more. And that can become insurmountable, especially when every inning and every at-bat is now high leverage. So I'm giving it to the Friars in 3. We'll see them in the division series.
I'm actually going to join you, Dallas. That Padres bullpen, it's almost like even if you have seen the Padres over the course of the season, you think you have a feel for what they're about and the talent that they have. Once the calendar turns to October, it's like, if you're, put it this way, when I saw, like, you know, face to face the Padres and the Red Sox, and you get a little taste of that bullpen, it gets your wheels turning of how is this going to be used in October? Because the way that bullpens are managed in the regular season is not how they are managed in the postseason. So if they felt like a great strength in the regular season, what the fuck is that going to look like in October when you are pulling guys in the third inning, and then you have the ability to deploy 5 different relievers, all of which can blow you away with 98 plus and wipe out shit. I think I trust the Padres offense just a tad more, and that could be all the difference. I don't anticipate high scoring games, but if the Padres are able to get a lead, they have the ability to just cling to it, and there's not much I don't think the Cubs will be able to do about it if San Diego's able to grab a lead and go to their bullpen, especially in a short series like this. So yeah, I think the only way that the Cubs are going to be able to pull out a win would be if they jump the starters early. So that's why I got to go in 3. Yeah, if there's like a game in there where they just jump a starter early, and they're able to do that and hang on.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yes, very much so. Because Mason Miller, I don't know if I know that Dallas, I'm sure, has paid attention to this, but Mason Miller, since becoming a Padre, he's leveled up. You thought he was good before. He's been ungodly since going to San Diego. It's laugh out loud funny. Okay. The Tigers and the Guardians. Dallas, who are you taking?
Oh, God.
Just take Skubal and those fucking losers.
I don't think he's struggling because he knows it's the guards, but he doesn't want to pick against Skubal.
This is vote Skubal in his heart right now. It's like,
yeah.
Who does he care about more?
No, that's not what this is. That is not what this is.
Who? Jared.
Yes.
This is who's going to get Bruce Chen.
Yeah.
Wow. No.
Yep.
This is not who's getting Bruce Chen. God bless. It is so tough to take a team that has quite literally, but you know what? If I'm going to believe anything I said, but they're not.
This is like Family Feud.
It is. Fuck it. Fuck that. The Tigers. For every reason that the Tigers had that 15-game lead, for every reason that the Tigers did what they did yesterday, Jared, and pop champagne, because they know how important it is to rinse away the bad juju, the bad vibes, and just keep it moving. Pack it up. Let's get ready to move on into October. That's where they're headed. So I have no doubt that the Motor City Kitties are going to bounce back up off the mat and get ready to attack in October. I firmly want to believe that because we're slated for what? Skubal Mize, right? I got to believe.
Yikes.
Yeah, Mize went Friday.
Skubal, pray for rain.
No.
I
like it.
Yeah, so here's the thing, Jayhay. This is just me and you talking here.
Yeah, what's up?
I don't think Dallas believes a word of what he just said.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
Yeah, he kind of just wants to, like, he sees Skubal as like a cash cow, and he's like, I've got to attach myself to this, and I can't risk future Slab Lab episodes with the greatest pitcher on planet Earth by picking the Guardians. It's just not worth being right on this one.
I mean, I think he's probably doing that math right. He's probably correct on all of that. But I also don't think that he believes what he's saying, because he's seen what happened when Skubal pitched against the Guardians the last few times, and it hasn't gone very well. One time was a grand slam, and then a bunch of times were another bunch of balls they just kicked around the infield. They like put the ball down and then they kicked it instead of using a bat, and they still got on.
All the reasons I'm not worried about it happening again. Fucking mistakes. Physical mistakes, whatever. It's the big leagues. Those happen. Few and far between.
Mysticism. No. Anyway, Jared,
this Tigers team,
Jared, you know what's
geared up.
Who are you going to pick?
Yeah. I think I'm going to go guards in 2 here.
Yeah. It's good.
Wow.
Yeah, because once Gavin Williams or Bybee, I guess whoever they decide to go with, dispatches Skubal in game 1, it's like, woof. You said Casey Mize? That can't.
He's an all-star this year.
That can't be right.
All-star, and he was dominant in his last outing.
No, he was.
Sleeping on Casey Mize right now.
All right, so Dallas and his cash cows over there, former number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, that's true.
So my turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no surprise. They're going to be shuffling out of Judson Manor. They're going to be walking across that small little street. And they're going to be partying at Virginia Havens Park. That's what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, they are.
As the Guardians take this one. I'm with Jared here. It's a nice 2-0. We're not even
2-0.
going to mess around. Yep.
Okay.
Go land.
Oh, I can't wait. Riley Green's going to hit a fucking huge 3-run bomb in your fucking grill. And I can't wait to post this clip because right above it, I'm just going to go like this. And it's going to say, told you so. I told you so.
You know what, man? I hope Riley Green makes contact with the ball in this series. I think I saw somewhere he's the first person to ever strike out exactly 201 times. So tip of the cap to him.
Wow.
Yep. Good
Buddy.
stuff.
Can't hit homers if you don't swing the bat, Jay.
That's true. You can strike out 201 times without swinging the bat, though. He tried.
Sure.
Yeah.
Then last but not least, Justin Havens. Who do you have in this Red Sox Yankees series?
I'm no fool because I got plans tomorrow, and it's going to be showing up at the House of Blues, and it's going to be kicking some ass and having some fun. And you must be fucking crazy if you think I'm going to show up there having taken the Yankees on the Baseball is Dead pod. It's the Red Sox. It's my World Series pick. You know it. This is just step one, Boston over New York, and I hate to break it to the Yankee fans. It's going to be 2.
Ooh. Sox in 2.
Wow.
That's the pick from Justin Havens. Let's see what douchebag Dallas has to say about this one.
Oh, wow.
What do you got?
Well, I mean, why douchebag Dallas?
Because I feel like I don't know. There's no way that you believe. What do you got?
I don't know.
What do you mean? There's no way I believe.
I don't think you're riding with the Sox. You throw shots at the Sox every chance you get.
That is not true.
Oh, it is.
That is not true at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I have long professed my affinity for Red Sox Nation, Jared.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's not gonna stop me from making what I think is the wise decision, the smart decision.
Which is?
I mean, I think it's going to be the Sox in 3, Jared. I think it's going to be the Red Sox in 3 games. It's not just going to be a clean sweep. It's not going to be a roll them over, steamroll type job. But I do believe it's going to be the Sox. The Sox in 3. Wrap it up.
Dallas has the Sox in 3. Jayhay has the Sox in 2. Jake, did you make a pick? Sox in 2, baby, he says. Sox in 2. Yeah, I think the Yanks get it done.
Yeah. Good to hear. Good. That's unbiased. It's unbiased.
Yeah. Yeah, their travel arrangements for vacation, I think they get that done. I think they get that done by the end of tonight. I think that gets done by the end of tonight. They're on fucking what? Expedia? Yeah. Enjoy Bora Bora, you fucking geeks.
Look out for the third-party fares.
And I'm down to Cabo.
It's Hidden Bee season.
Yeah. Enjoy Cancun, you fucking dweeb. It's 2 and out. It's 2 and out. It's the Sox in 2.
The L2 and a Q.
Yeah. And it all starts Tuesday night at the House of Blues. Hopefully we see everybody there. All right, those are the official picks. That's very exciting. That's very, very exciting. You guys have some news, notes, and nugs to get to. I've got to do this MLB Network hit where we basically just told everyone here what I'm going to say. Like,
yeah.
What is my bold take? What's my bold take for the postseason?
Oh yeah, we didn't figure that out.
It's that I can't even say because I feel like people wouldn't I think people would think it's bold coming from me, but I don't think it's a bold take to say that Guards Tigers is going to be the most exciting.
Why don't you
wildcard
just go
matchup.
full troll and say that Aaron Judge doesn't get a hit?
That is what I'm going to say.
There you go.
So when people see
Producing.
this segment and then they see me say that, they're going to be like, that was Jayhay that said that.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
those
just
are
say-
the true fans. What are we? Hour whatever. This is like hour 45 into the pod. Those
Yeah,
people
lack
deserve
of-
that little insight.
Lack of total production from Aaron Judge in the wild card round is why the Yankees were bounced. That's what you wanted to say.
Is that even bold to say, though? Because I feel like if he did do that, then everyone's like, I expect.
No, just say 0 hits. Just say 0 hits.
Zero
That takes
hits.
care of itself because that means that they probably, it doesn't matter how long they last. He gets 0 hits. Because you also think they're going to lose in the first round. So it works.
I do think that, yeah. I'll be honest. I do believe that to be true. All right. You guys have a great rest of your podcast. All right.
Good luck on
You
this
guys-
hit, man. I think we've really nailed it.
Yeah. We really did workshop something great here together as a team. So enjoy the Nugs. We will be back. What's our schedule this week? We're
Are
going
we
to do
doing
another
after?
pod.
After the streams?
Yeah. So normal.
Yeah, I guess.
Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday. All right. All right. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm gone.
Well, you'll see us tomorrow.
We'll see him tomorrow. We're still seeing him.
We're going to see him in person tomorrow.
We will.
Feel like sometimes it's, barely holding on, that guy. But we're
What
going
do
to
we
get
got some
him.
news and notes.
Yeah, we got him to his MLB Network segment, so that's what that's step one. Yeah, a little news and notes. I mean, these are like mega nugs, right? These are like the season-long achievements that we just have to make sure people know, basically.
Yes. Huge. Yes. Massive nug.
Dallas, Shohei set his career high in homers with 55. Your reaction?
It is becoming increasingly more difficult for me to want to continue to see him on the mound when I think about what he has continued to show that he's capable of offensively. I mean, what we see on the mound is obviously impressive. It's jaw-dropping at times, but I don't think that it's so different than what other guys in the league are also capable of doing from time to time. What makes it special is what he does while he's also hitting 50+ homers a year. But yeah, it's almost like Shohei just picks out areas of the game in which he is going to choose to be the best at and exceed at. And he's like, okay, or excel at. And he goes, that's what I'll do this year. So
Yeah.
it's just been, it's been stupid to watch, but yeah, it does. It becomes watching this season unfold offensively. And it makes me like, oh man, I would love to have seen him on the bases and running a little more too, because I mean, to back up a 50-50 season with a second 50-50 season would just be outlandish. And I, for not for 1 minute, don't think that he was capable of doing it if the injury wasn't something he was guarding.
Yeah, I there's no right or wrong here. I think I respectfully disagree in the sense that like I saw 50-50 last year. So what was more interesting to me this year was seeing him get back on the mound and overcome that hurdle and then get to a point where he's gone from 1 inning to, being a legitimate starting pitcher in terms of the workload that he's carried, at least over the last couple, and been really good doing it. Like that to me is that he's gotten back. Like I never doubted that he would get back to pitching. What I maybe had some doubts on was what level of effectiveness would he achieve once he got back, and that we're already at the level that he's at. I know you said that other people can do it, and that's definitely true. But the level that he's already achieved on the mound to me is just wildly impressive. And like I'm also in my head, there's no way to prove this, right? And as he gets older, maybe it becomes less true. But in my head, I now think that it doesn't fucking make a difference whether Ohtani has to also focus on pitching or also has to rehab an injury or also has to do 1,000 media hits, that his offensive production is just going to be what it is right now because he's amazing. Like there is functionally, other than the stolen bases that you talked about, there's functionally no difference between what he gave last season and what he gave this season, right? Offensively. And that to me is just an incredible testament again to this guy, where it was like, he was coming off the injury suffered in the World Series. He was trying to get back to pitching, all of these things he's doing at the same time. And then at the end of the year, we're looking up and it's 55 homers, 146 runs, 102 RBI. And like, to your point, like, I'll do the Nug in a second, but like, achieving different things every year. I know he didn't set out to like score lots of runs, because that's more about where he ended up in the batting order than anything else. But like, he had 146 runs scored this year, which is historically significant. That's an enormous number of runs scored. And it's just another like statistical marker that he's elevated. I don't know. 55 homers is insane. We can, nobody's right or wrong there, but interesting. Aaron Judge, he won the batting title, 2 batting title notes, kind of the extreme ends, which is a little bit fun to work with. Aaron Judge won a batting title while also hitting 50 plus homers. I know what the answer is. Like a good lawyer, I'm not asking a question I don't know the answer to. Has this swayed your opinion on the AL MVP at all?
No.
All right. Do you have any other thoughts on Aaron Judge winning a batting title while hitting 50 plus homers?
Yeah, it's extremely impressive because of talking about watching Jacob Wilson, who for a long time was in the conversation of winning a batting title and not winning Rookie of the Year. Is it crazy to think that a guy who is going to win the batting title and hit 50 plus homers not winning an MVP? And that will remain to be seen. But I think it's as much of a conversation or as much of a possibility of that happening than has ever been the case in baseball. And that in and of itself is impressive. And I think that's a tip of the cap to Cal Raleigh there. But Aaron Judge, it feels like he's at times a victim of individuals who are trying to contextualize in his favor his achievements. And I don't know that they necessarily need to be, but I think that comes because it's in the face of people reminding you that for a long time, what Ohtani was doing when they were in the same league was things that nobody else was doing or seeing and hasn't seen done for such a period of time. And so you felt the need to, tell us why Aaron Judge's American League home run title was so important. And I understand, but you just, at some point in time, I think you have to give Aaron Judge the respect, if you haven't already, about being the greatest or arguably one of the greatest right-handed hitters that the game has ever seen.
Yeah. And so I'm glad you ended on that note, because that's obviously a statistical thing that I've been hung up on for a long time. The greatest right-handed hitter thing. But one distinction I've seen people use when having that conversation is like, nobody seems willing to say that he's like a tactician, or not a tactician, like a wizard with the wand, in the same way that people were speaking about Miguel Cabrera or even Albert Pujols or something like that. And I find that increasingly both interesting and a little bit tough to defend, because like there was a time where Aaron Judge was a little bit more slug than maybe craftsman with the bat, or whatever, however you want to refer to his batting average reflection, like the first 50 homer season. But we're now at a point where the guy hit 331 this year, 331. And last year was 322. And while there was a down year in 23, in 22, it was 311. So like at some point you can quibble with how he swings the bat or what level of artistry is involved in that. But at the end of the day, like, don't we just have to kind of look at the results? Like, well, and what
Jay,
he's doing?
So these two things right here, like batting title. Okay. That means on average, more hits than anybody is what that means. And the second most opposite field homers in baseball.
Which was something that people blew Miguel Cabrera for throughout his whole career, right? And rightfully so, right?
That's why I brought it up. That is why I brought it up, because batting title, again, on average, more hits than anybody. And those are hits that go the other way. Those are hits that go poolside. The opposite field homer reference comes into play because now you're talking about a guy who we understand that poolside power is a thing, but this is a dude who is on average getting more overall hits than anybody. And when you zoom in on the power side of it, he's driving the ball the other way just about as good as anybody in baseball outside of Nick Kurtz. So that's a freak. That is an absolute freak, people. That's a freak. And it should absolutely be understood and respected as such, that you rarely see that.
And furthermore, I know we'll keep it moving. Furthermore, like he won the batting title by 20 fucking points. He did not fractionally win the batting title. Not that it matters, but like in the scheme of like it being more impressive, he was 20 points higher than Bichette and Jay Willie. And like that gap between 1 and 2 or 1 and the league average or 1 and whatever, like that is actually in a lot of ways more impressive than the 330s of previous batting titles or 340s of previous batting titles, because the league average batting average was so much higher, or the comp, like there wasn't such a gap between him and everybody else. I don't know. Like we're running in with Judge and Ohtani. We just run into like, you could do superlatives with them all day, but it's, another 10-win season. It's just unbelievable that both of these guys are playing baseball at the same time.
He really is an absolute freak.
Turner won the batting title. Trey Turner won the batting title in the NL with the lowest batting average in NL history for a batting champion. Previous mark was Tony Gwynn in 1988 with 313. The lowest batting average by a batting champion overall is Carl Yastrzemski at 301, who won in 1968. I note that for historical significance. I don't think anybody's here is hating on Trey Turner, who delivered a season that probably the least talked about season that will receive MVP votes in 2025. Is that fair?
Yes, it's fair. I mean, and also I think a little bit of that has to do with him missing time as well, especially down the stretch. But yeah, I think that's more than fair. Because the numbers. Because does he get to 20 plus homers? Probably.
Yeah. He missed
40 bags.
He missed 21 games. He had 15 homers. So maybe he gets up, maybe not, but you're probably threatening 40 bags to your point. Yeah. I mean, a legitimately excellent season. And I think if I have any takeaway, and you're obviously at the forefront of touting this in general, it's that winning a batting title with a 304 batting average just shows how fucking hard hitting modern pitching is, right? Especially for average.
Straight up. It is not easy. Speaking of modern pitching, I want to ask you this, Jayhay. Thoughts from a fan perspective on when you watch a player like Clayton Kershaw finish off his career the way he is finishing things off. And you have these moments where teammates and players that he has shared the limelight with, he has bled and sweat with, when Freddie Freeman comes out to take Clayton Kershaw out of the ball game, what are your thoughts? Because there's pageantry around it, and I think we've seen this time and time again. Obviously with Jeter and Mo and Andy Pettit, and right, like just What was your thought when you see Freddie come out and take the ball from Kersh?
My first thought is, I thought about the Jeter moment, right? Or the Mariano moment on some level. I thought about the pyramid, the pecking order of greatness in baseball, and the fraternity, and how there are many ways you can contextualize Clayton Kershaw's greatness, but that Freddie Freeman and other future Hall of Famers are coming out and like in their own way paying respects to him is just another piece of perspective that and I also felt like a little, it's ridiculous to say, I felt a little caught off guard, to be honest, because I know that we've been talking about how this is Clayton Kershaw's last season all season, and that we've been blessed with a season that none of us thought we were going to get from him in terms of effectiveness and like ability to enjoy it instead of trying to beg people to remember how great he used to be. But that it was over. And then you get the news that he's left off the wild card roster, which after I digested it, I was like, well, given the length of the series, et cetera, that all makes sense. Like, I understand why that's happening, but that we're now faced with the possibility rather abruptly that we may never see Clayton Kershaw pitch again. And I was anticipating this is his last regular season start, and then I'm going to see him pitch in the postseason, not really thinking through the wild card round element, the length of the series, who's actually going to pitch for them. And so I think that was my thing, is like, man, did you soak that in enough? Like, are you ready if you don't see Clayton Kershaw pitch again? And I guess I'm going to have to be.
Yeah, that was something that I thought about, because I immediately was like, well, if he's going today, that means they will not be able to turn to him at any point in time here in the next 72 hours. So shit. Damn. Because I thought back to how his last regular season home start, I had plans to go out and I just didn't go. I was like, I'm not going. I'm going to watch Clayton Kershaw pitch instead. And yeah, like I was aware of it. And that's why I think I was like, man, it did. It gave me the feels. It gave me the emotion, because I do think that, like, when those guys find themselves at their respective moments in Cooperstown and they're having that moment, they'll be able to look back on that moment. They will share that story.
Yeah.
Remember when I came and got your old ass off the mound? Yeah. Like,
yes,
it's going to be great.
Yes.
It's going to be great.
It's awesome. Yeah. So that's, I guess, not to be against Cincinnati, the little team, but sorry, I guess that's another reason why I kind of want the Dodgers to win in some ways, because I just don't necessarily want it to be over for Kershaw, although I'm not even sure what the DS would bring necessarily. I guess we'll wait to see whether that's something. Cal Raleigh got 60 homers, man.
Love it.
I mean, what a fucking cool scene in Seattle, by the way. I know we touched on them winning the division, but like 24 years. And I thought it was really fucking cool that, like, the reporting and I believe the direct quotes were like, even when we broke the postseason streak a couple of years ago, it wasn't like this. And like that the division still means something to, and you saw that all over baseball, right? You saw it all over, which was Seattle, Toronto, like Cleveland, like there was something to winning the division. And I'm glad that that's still the case. And it's really hard not to pull. I know that you pick Seattle and that, all of that. But it's just such a cool story. And to see that place rocking as Cal Raleigh hit 2 homers in the same game to get to 60, it's just like,
yeah,
so cool.
Though that right there, all of those. See, we're not here to gloat about my genius, Jayhay. We are here to celebrate the way the Mariners fans are celebrating, because it's one of the places I've said it a long time. I love going to Seattle because I love their fans. I love the energy around the city when the Mariners are playing good baseball, because it's the closest thing for me that I feel on the West Coast that even gets close to what you might feel on the East Coast when a team is playing well and the city rallies around it, right? Like San Diego Padres fans, they have that in them too. When you're around San Diego, especially around this time of year, and things are cranking up and they're in the postseason, buddy, you can't eat a fish taco without somebody telling you how fucking good the Padres are and how excited they are about getting ready to go to the ballpark. We got a beautiful ballpark. I get it. But to have that going on in Seattle and in that fashion where Cal pops 2 to get to that nice round MVP-ish number of 60, job well done for Cal Raleigh and the rest of the surging Seaman supporters.
Well, in the quote he gave, whereas he said, I just don't know what to say. Like, I didn't know if I would even hit 60 in my life, and he hit 60 in a season, and he's like literally next to, like, it's almost cooler that he just, if you're not going to break the record, in some senses, it's almost cooler to just sit at 60 and be next to
right
Babe
on
Ruth.
It.
Yeah, just
George,
be like right next to Babe Ruth in the record book. So fucking cool. And yeah, I hope that keeps going. I hope the Cal Raleigh thing keeps going, because it would just be nice if that whole vibes, if it just ended on something cool.
It'd be great.
Willie Adames, first Giants batter with 30 homers since Bonds. Obviously, they fired Bob Melvin right before we started recording this podcast. So Nice note for Willy Adames, sour note for the Giants.
Nice note for Willy Adames because Willie was catching a lot of shit, catching a lot of heat for not making adjustments. For frankly, I think at times letting the ballpark own him is kind of how it was described. And I watched Willie early, and I saw some things that yes needed to be tended to. And if you're going to be able to go to work and make the adjustments in that ballpark and end up producing the way he did at the end of the year, like to get to that mark, I know it might not seem like a big deal, but for a team in the Giants who frankly have been searching for a left fielder since Bonds left, also searching for consistent power threats, if you've got a guy in Willie who is able to figure it out and step up that left side of the infield defensively, I think Willie could have been better defensively, but to end his year 30 homers in that ballpark, job well done. But with no Bowmel, the vibes, Jayhay, the vibes. I think it's interesting because it's Bob Melvin for all of the young groups that have kind of come up with his tutelage. It feels like some of the veteran groups here recently have had pushback, and I don't know if that's maybe the evolution of today's player starting to take hold with some of baseball's older minds. But as soon as you say that, you think about a guy like Ellie De La Cruz, who is as young and as vibrant as ever, and he's got Tito with him, right? and they find a way to make it work. So, yeah, tough break for the Giants. Hope Bowmel is at least content to whatever extent and is going to find work if he's looking for it, because I think that'll be the case.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Bowmel, so I'll defer to you on that, and I don't know about the situation, so I'm not implying anything. But I do think Tito's, like, if there was ever a point where he took himself seriously or took himself too seriously, I think he's crested over that point, and I would have to imagine that helps. As an older manager connecting with the people that he has to connect with, that there's just like he's almost like a grandfatherly figure, I feel like, at this point, and that doesn't work for all teams and it doesn't work for all people, but it is one way, I think, to make that work. To go back to the Willy Adames thing, he's not going to, it's a failure of a season for the Giants, obviously. He's not going to get the credit that he got in his walk year from Milwaukee because some of the counting stats aren't as gaudy, but he pretty much delivered on what I think expectations should have been for Willy Adames in terms of end of season stat line. He gave 30 homers. That's yes. Okay. 12 stolen bases, 740 OPS, 111 OPS plus. The batting average is a little unsightly. Overall, it's a lesser season than it was last year, but I think anybody expecting him to do a 1-for-1 last year, from last year, I think was probably making a mistake in understanding the ballpark to begin with, right? And how difficult it is to hit there. And, you know, to your point about the adjustments, 898 OPS over his final 35 games. We'll see whether that's the sort of adjustments that stick. I have some nugs. Do you have any other thoughts or things that you wanted to hit? We haven't talked about the A's one time in this podcast, so please.
You know what? I'll save that for my final thought.
Okay. Some nugs here real quickly. Cleveland is only the fourth team to make the playoffs in the same season. It had a 10-game skid, joining the 2017 Dodgers, 82 Braves, and 1951 New York Giants. In terms of active division droughts, division title droughts, the Mariners snapped the fourth longest. The Pirates, 92, Marlins, 93, and Rockies, 93, have gone longer. The two expansion franchises there have never won their divisions. So those quests continue, and probably for quite a long time. But congrats to the Mariners for getting off that list. Shohei Ohtani, as I mentioned earlier, scored 146 runs this season. That is tied for the fourth most in a season since integration, 1947. The only years with more runs scored than Ohtani this year are Jeff Bagwell in 2000 with 152, Ted Williams in 1949, and Ronald Acuna Jr. in 2023. Ohtani's tied with Sosa, Biggio, and Ricky Henderson in 1985 at 146. If you look at 145 or more runs scored and 50 or more homers, only 5 players have done that. Ohtani, Sammy Sosa in 01, Jimmy Fox in 32, Hack Wilson in 1930, and Babe Ruth 4 times. And if you look at 55 homers and 20 or more stolen bases, that's only been done twice. And that's just Ken Griffey Jr. in 1998 and Shohei Ohtani in 2025. Aaron Judge is just the third player to hit 50 or more homers and winning batting title, as has been noted in many outlets at this point, joining Hall of Famers Mickey Mantle in 1956 and Jimmy Fox in 1936. Willie Adames not only hit 30 homers this year, but he is the sixth shortstop in MLB history to have 3 or more seasons of at least 30 homers, joining A-Rod, who had 7, Lindor, who has 6, Ernie Banks, 5, Miguel Tejada, 4, and Adames and Corey Seager each sit at 3 right now. And then shortstops with consecutive seasons featuring 30 or more homers and 10 or more stolen bases, which Adames has done in each of the last 2 years. That's Lindor, who has 2 separate streaks of 3 straight seasons doing that. Bobby Witt Jr., who did it in 23 and 24. Trevor Story in 18 and 19. A-Rod, 1998 through 2001. And Noma in 97 and 98. I will have plenty of nugs for people tuning in to the streams across the week, regular season and postseason alike. But those are the nugs for today. And I turn it over to you.
I just wanted to quickly congratulate the Athletics on another season where, sure, we can talk about the disappointment during the downturn, that stretch. I've been over that. But to bounce back from where you were just a couple years ago, 50 wins in 2023. 50 wins, 69 wins last year, 76 wins this year as a group. And to get to that mark and still feel like it's a disappointment, I think is just the right amount of melancholy to enter the offseason with, because you knew you were better than that. You showed that you were better than that, but you also know that there's still a lot of growth ahead of you. So with all that being said, I think A's fans had a lot to be excited about, a lot to look forward to. But a job well done for the guys who were, I think at times thrust into positions where they were trying to learn how to be big leaguers in different spots, all on the fly while trying to win games and be competitive. It's not an easy task to handle, and I think they handled it admirably. But I look forward to what 2026 has in store for this group.
Yeah, man, I don't blame you. I mean, I think when we get ready for the 26 season in February, March, January, whatever, and there's the teams that get that extra buzz, I think the A's are going to be on the short list for that. And they're certainly going to be on the short list of teams that I'm most excited to dig back into after, I take my week off during the winter or something to recalibrate. But seriously, the offense is just enormously exciting and so diverse in how some of those guys go about it. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, but from an outsider's perspective, it's almost fun to have a team that has so much going for it in that direction and now needs to dig in on the pitching and solve that on a level and the defense too a little bit. But I think at least what I saw and what the numbers said, the defense got better as the season went on.
Defense got better, Jayhay. The bullpen, again, think about what we were just talking about with Mason Miller and the animal that he just continues to be and evolve into. Well, the A's bullpen got better when they had to depart with Mason Miller. So I think there's a lot to look forward to down there as well. I think you're right. I know you're right that the real interest for me comes with the starting rotation.
Yeah. Yeah. My final thought, obviously not the end of the 25 campaign, but the end of the 25 regular season. This is the 9th season that this podcast has existed in some form, going back to 2017. So I'm very much looking forward to the streams and the postseason. It's the best part of the season. But just want to say I appreciate doing another year of podcasting with you. And I'll tell Jared at a different time. And Jake, obviously, and Jeremy and everybody else, Connor, Mike, everybody, Corey, all the people who contribute behind the scenes as well, so to speak. Very much appreciated. And I had a great time talking ball this year. I think it was some of the most comprehensive baseball coverage that, we as a group have ever delivered. And in whatever form it takes, I'm excited already for the 2026 regular season as well. So thanks, buddy. Appreciate you talking ball.
Well said, my friend. And I feel the exact same way. I think we both really understand and appreciate, I know Jared does too, how much our listeners mean to us, which is why it's no thought at all for me to end my regular season yesterday, drive 6 hours home to immediately get on an airplane tonight, a red eye.
Yes, sir.
And fly so that I can watch baseball with you fellas for the next 3 days. And it's all because of the energy that our listeners bring. It's all because of how much fun we have together as a group, just watching baseball, talking shit like people do at home. And I'm glad that they take the time to do it with us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of those fans too. As Jared said, buy those tickets. And I appreciate all the fans who listen and can't get to any of these events as well. They're just as appreciated in the Discord. My Army. We appreciate you guys as well. Dallas is a little bit on the fence with that one. But yeah, I'll see you at what do you say, 12:45, so we can make sure to get that first cocktail in before first pitch.
Done and done. Wow.